Tom Lee's BMNR. We've been talking a lot about this stock. It's down around 5-6% here on the day once again, but it has now finally approached our buy zone that we were talking a lot about for stocks and shares. And this is where we're looking to start buying near 43 down into $40. The next buy zone would be closer to $33 to $30 flat, which will be around your 200 SMA if it continues over time. What we're looking at there. We're also going to be going into what's happening with the price of Bitcoin and everything you need to understand behind the scenes. Because again, when you're looking at the price of crypto stocks or anything related to crypto stocks, especially BMNR, which is directly tied to the price of Ethereum, we need to understand exactly where you're moving as far as crypto is concerned, and is it following, is it connected to the stock market as well? We're going to jump all into that right now. Before I go too far, I just want to get some of this stuff out of the way. If you want to see what we're trading, how we're trading every single day, the Discord link is down below. Every day I start with futures here and from the Tyler zone, as you can see here. I go into exactly what we're expecting, what we're looking for bright and early in the morning. Then from there, we go into the watch list from Jordan, which he goes over futures, or if you cover stocks in here as well. He did the watch list on Sunday, so he didn't cover anything today. It was all inside the newsletter, which is free as well on our website. The link is down below. Trade ideas, more swing trades, no swing trades here for ourselves. It's been just all scalps, and we've gone crazy. Oracle on the downside, as you can see there. Nvidia today was our monster trade. This thing was insane. We looked for TSM, never got it, but again, monster trading day. The profits are there for you as well. The link's down below. Do what you gotta do. Now, going into BMNR, this is finally hitting that area where I'm looking to buy stock, and I want to make sure people understand this part before I go further at all. Okay, so let me address this because people keep saying, "Oh, well, I'm down so bad." Okay, well, let's make something very clear beginning part of the video so no one can get confused or say that I'm misleading or like just say crazy stuff. Now, I also want to make sure people understand you need to be doing your own research. It's not advice. Do whatever you need to do, like behind the scenes. You should be doing your own work and doing your own due diligence. I should be like an indicator of anything, something to help you maybe get an edge. Okay, so what I've marked out, and go watch the previous videos. I'm looking to buy stock on BMNR in these two zones. Number one, 43 to like $40 as we marked out, and you can go watch the previous video. The next one will be down here near 32 to 33. I am not looking to buy options on a stock that is going just down. I'm not trying to time a bottom. I don't think I'm gonna get rich quick off of BMNR. That's not what I'm trying to do. Okay, that is it. I want to make that abundantly clear. Where I would look to buy options for the 5 millionth time, it would be upon a breakout of the $65 level here. Now, on the other side, if things started taking a turn, this is my option plan as of right now. Maybe I'll get more aggressive over time, but as of now, there's no reason to get aggressive on BMNR because you're obviously just trending down and you're still making those lower highs that you've been seeing from basically all the way back here. You can just extend this if you want a little bit further, still making those, right? False breakout, but that's where you're at right now. So again, I'm only looking to buy shares. I'm not looking to buy any options. I've been very clear about this. Now, the other thing that we have to unpack is what's happening with Bitcoin. We'll go into that in 1 second. So one thing that we talked about in the last video is that BMNR has been just loading up on Ethereum. They're basically MicroStrategy, but instead of Bitcoin, it's all Ethereum. Okay. And again, I do think directly tied to the Trump organization, Trump administration, everything they're doing with their money, they are heavily invested into Ethereum. So again, this is more of the logic that's going in behind that viewpoint. Now, some people are like, well, Tyler, if you're accusing, my last video I made on BMNR, someone was like, you're saying that Donald Trump's insider trading, but you don't talk about the Democrats. I want to make something very clear. I only look to make money in the stock market. I don't care about politics. I don't care about Trump or Biden or Democrats, or I don't really care. I really don't. If I see opportunity, I'll take it. Nancy Pelosi buying Tempest AI beginning of the year, I talked all about it. We made money on that trade. Go rewatch the tape. We talked all about it. Okay. Same thing here. If you are blinding yourself, closing your eyes, screaming la 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 because you're a Republican and you're like, well, I don't want to talk about Donald Trump insider trading and clearly manipulating the markets. I don't care. Maybe this channel is not for you. Maybe you're totally tied with your political beliefs and you can't disconnect that from reality. Kudos to you. I don't care. That's your personal preference. As I look at this, that's one of the main reasons why I like BMNR is because Trump and the Trump administration are directly tied to this. Just going to tell you, if he's invested into it, I think it's something that I should be considering looking at. The other side of this is BMNR's ultimate goal that they've said recently with Tom Lee is that they want to get to 5% total holdings of Ethereum. That's where they want to get to. They've been just adding more and more and more and more. The most recent had them at 2.8%. They should be closer to 3.2, 3.3 after these recent buys. And I'd be willing to bet that they're going to continue announcing more and more buys. I want to make that really clear, so you guys can see, everything that's going on. It's also worth mentioning that I think they're the number 2 holder of one crypto, which is very important to understand as well. The only person above them is MicroStrategy with Bitcoin holdings. So important to understand where you're at and what's happening. So that's more the fundamental viewpoint that's happening right now. Okay. Now, on top of that, it's important that we understand, well, how does BMNR go up? Like if the stock market goes up, will BMNR go up? In theory, probably, but I want to point a more clear picture. It's very important that we understand what Bitcoin and what Ethereum is doing. Now, I will say, typically, I know obviously this is tied more to Ethereum, but if Bitcoin goes up, Ethereum will probably follow. That's the ideology that you're looking for here. And you can see that you're kind of like we're sitting at 108,000, this same key level over and over. This is a daily chart going back on Bitcoin. I don't love what's happening. You are seeing wicks, but still it's kind of choppy here, right? And if I go into Ethereum, look here, Ethereum USD, what you want to get back above is this previous high from 2024, the double top there. You get back above 4,100, I think you look fine. Until then, right now, you're just trending towards and kind of dipping down towards the 200 SMA. If you lose the 200 SMA, I do think BMNR is going to take a bit of a hit, and I'd be expecting a lot more aggression on the selling and seeing more of a downside. I want to make this abundantly clear, though. I'm looking at BMNR as stock and like over the next few months. I'm not really like tunnel vision. I'm like, okay, I got to make money by December 2nd because I got to get my money out, because if I don't make money here, little Timmy and little Susan aren't getting any Christmas presents. Not how I think. Again, it's a long game, especially when you're looking at some of these cheaper stocks. If you go look at anyone that's making money actively with cheaper names like Tempest AI, SoFi is a great example, HIMS, it takes time. Oscar, right? All these stocks that we've mentioned before, we went long down here, like 13, 14 bucks. If I would have said, okay, I got 1 month in me, I would have been out and I would have made no money, like $1 or $2 per share. But you fast forward 4, 5, 6 months, guess what? You run all the way to $23. The granted, I sold near 21, 22. Not highlight that, didn't make it all the way to the top, but still showing you the process of how long some of this stuff takes. HIMS is another great example. If I would have bought down to the 200 SMA and freaked out and sold after one little dip, I would have only made a few bucks. You ended up running back to 65, and the story happens again and again and again. But it's understanding when you're going into these cheaper names, especially how I view them, it's a viewpoint of I'm buying them, just sitting and waiting. When I'm looking to get options, it's because we're breaking a big level, or I'm expecting a quick move, expecting aggression, and I just don't have that for myself right now. But important to understand that, okay? Very, very important to understand what I'm saying there. So you're not just blindly going along saying, okay, well, it's time to YOLO, boys. It's time to go. That's not Tyler's channel, okay? So back into BMNR. That is where you're at right now. So far, it's finding buyers from down here, the market as well. Now, it's also worth mentioning, again, we talked about Ethereum, we talked about Bitcoin, where you're at and kind of how you're moving there. Going back into the stock market. The stock market, yeah, you're a little bit, like you saw a little bit of a pullback intraday here, but I do want to highlight that overall the market's pretty damn strong. Like you're sitting near high. So anyone, and I keep seeing this on social media, people are like, oh, I'm going short, man. Time to buy the puts. I'm like, you're like quite honestly like 1% away from all-time highs. Like, what are we talking about going short? That's crazy. So again, if you want to be the first person short, be my guest, like whatever you want to do. But the market's still making higher lows from these dips that you've seen. Again, looking like it wants to keep trading towards the upside. The stock market looks extremely strong in my opinion. So from that viewpoint, again, you guys know my viewpoint as well, that I believe this crypto market follows the stock market as a risk on indicator, especially aligned with something like IWM. When you look at this, trying to break out, getting a break and retest of your previous all-time highs, as you can see there. Again, trying to break out. These are all risk on indicators for me as I'm looking at the market. So it's hard for me to not imagine that Bitcoin finds some strength. But for the time being, Bitcoin is just struggling. Like, this is the biggest and question mark for me. I need Bitcoin to stay above the 200 daily moving average. Like, that's what you need to see the red line here, and you're just holding below it. So as I'm looking at this, I'm very cautious. I'm still buying some BMNR stock. I'm not going insane. I'm not full sending, not full leveraging. But if I look at the market for how strong NASDAQ looks and how unimpressive Bitcoin looks in the short term, it's definitely causing me to say, okay, I need to hit the brakes. I need to not be going crazy. I need to be prepared for the likelihood of getting a deeper dip here. And again, getting a dip isn't bad. You need to also understand. People think, okay, if you're dumping, it's a dip, this is so bad. When you get these opportunities for dips, they're typically some of your biggest and best buying opportunities, right? So I'm going to use some examples here as well. So over the past few weeks, Amazon was one of those dips, right? we call it the lag 7, right? When the mag 7's going up and there's a few names that are holding back. But if you look at Amazon here, like Amazon was 238, was dipping down to 214, while the stock market was near all-time highs, and he had most of the mag 7 at all-time highs as well. But Amazon was dipping. Everyone's panicking. You have earnings, you boom, you go crazy. Right now, no one's talking about Amazon being an opportunity. Same thing here with Meta, as you're getting an opportunity as this is dipping down. Now, I'm not telling you to buy these names. I'm just showing that where you get your biggest and best buying opportunity is typically off of dips. Meta back in April, look at that dip, the skyrocket back up. We can always go back to 2020 or 2022. I'm sorry, when you had the nastiest dip of all time on Meta down to like $90, and it went straight up for God knows how long, still even now. But again, worth mentioning, Google was still, dipping way back here in April, but slowly started grinding back up, became one of the biggest, best movers. So it's about understanding where you're getting opportunity and also having a thesis of why you're going long on these names as well. Now, again, I do think these names are better than Bitmine. I want to highlight that right now. They're not in the same category or same level as far as the stock. This is a mid cap, small cap name, but it's important to understand what and why I'm looking at it. And when I look at dips, especially when I'm buying shares, traditionally I'm pretty happy. Like, I want to buy shares on a dip. That's where you want to buy. You want to buy low, sell high in a perfect world, right? So again, what I'm looking at, why I'm looking at it, that's where Bitmine immersion's at. And that's kind of all the news behind it as well right now. Nothing really crazy in the works. I would not be surprised if you see something come out of the woodworks that they've, again, have been buying more and more and more as far as Ethereum is concerned, which again, even here, Bitmine ranks 60th in the United States stock market, trading with 1.5 billion in daily volume. It's insane for being what it is. It's not a top 100 stock. It's not like if we looked at the S&P and we looked at the NASDAQ, but it's still getting an insane amount of volume. So worth mentioning, worth tracking. I like where it's at. Wanted to give an update on that. Now, a few of the other mid caps that I've been watching as well, quick update on those. I'll be making a SoFi video later on this week. Obviously, I want to cover some of the rare earth material names here. If you are unaware, you might live under a rock, but there was a rare earth material, or there's a trade deal announced with China. And so I do expect rare earth material stocks to dip. MP Materials dipping back below previous all-time high of $60, basically right there. As you're looking at this, I think MP, you have to be targeting the 200 daily moving average. $42, $43. You also have a gap all the way down to $30. I would, if I had any longs here, I've closed all of them out for myself. I haven't got another buying opportunity yet. I'll be looking to be buying shares on MP. I'm not going to be looking to go to options right now. Unless you get really low, then I'll probably grab leaps, but just letting you guys know where I'd be looking to start adding shares, be near the 200 SMA, and then ideally at that gap fill down there. Once you get closer to $30, I think you're more at fair value, and yeah, I think it's going to be more of an opportunity. Okay, a few more names. SoFi continues to break out. I'm still a huge fan here. Higher lows clear as day, getting back above previous all-time highs here and here. Looks really good. Great dip opportunity, 28.5. Congratulations. Looking for this to continue up. Again, not a short-term trade. Think it's going to perform pretty well. One of my favorite semiconductor smaller cap names, mid cap names, is MRVL. Marvel, again, continues to churn, doing absolute work. Retested 200 daily moving average, bounced golden cross back above 83, came into our target $94 like we mentioned. If you get above 94, 94.3 here, you can hold. I believe you have basically nothing until 99, 100. That's going to be just a psychological level, and you have a room to 104, 105, then obviously all-time highs. Giving you, for instance, some of these mid caps and how fast they can move, especially in semiconductors. ARM, you guys know I was loving this name forever. The second he broke 164, it went straight to all-time highs, basically. It's kind of rejecting there now. Still looks pretty good, but Marvel, obviously, I think it has room, has potential for there, right? Now, this week as well, you do have some earnings I want to highlight. So if you guys want to check them out, do what you got to do. Again, you can follow on Twitter for all the updates. So these are some of the earnings that are going to be coming out this week. So you guys can see, obviously tonight we're going to have Palantir, Hims and Hers. Those are big names all in themselves. Tomorrow morning, Uber, Shopify, Spotify, pretty big. AMD in the after hours, SMCI on Tuesday as well. Beyond Meat, Mara, Upstart. Upstart's a big name I like. A lot of these, quantum names as well, reporting as well. D-Wave, INOQ. We'll see how they perform, but honestly, more excited about the beginning of the week rather than the end of the week. Got ARM, Q-Comp, some smaller semiconductors out there as well. But again, what I'm looking at. So again, going into this, I've been very clear. I'm buying shares on HIMS down here. I'm totally prepared for HIMS to dip down to $42 to $40 as well. Discord will be notified as I'm buying more and more of that. So again, you could be checking that out. I haven't started buying anything on Upstart. I want to be very clear about this. You're still making higher lows, but again, you just had the death cross right there, the 50 under the 200 SMA. I want to see us get back above 55 before I start even getting remotely aggressive. But back above the 200 SMA is when I start grabbing options or even shares. I'm being pretty patient here, not looking to get crazy. Affirm still looks really strong as well. Firm still holding by the 200 SMA. So again, looks pretty good. Again, reports earnings as well. I'm not really looking at Beyond Meat, obviously absolute trash can of a name. Don't have any desire for that. Still watching PayPal. PayPal's pinning basically to our level here, about like $68, $69. If you get above the 200 SMA again, I'm looking to go long, be totally honest with you. I think you can go shares, you can go options, whatever you want to do. I think PayPal's in a pretty good position for the long term. I like it a lot. As long as it stays above 68, it looks pretty good, but the 200 SMA looks really good. So again, kind of where my headspace is, how I'm trying to look into trade that as well. I mentioned Rocket Mortgage, or kind of vaguely mentioned it. Again, still kind of holding up here. You're seeing the mortgage rates kind of like fluctuate back and forth. Everyone's kind of up in arms about what is Powell going to do with rate cuts. So again, names that are surrounding rate cuts like SoFi, Rocket Mortgage are kind of bouncing back and forth, getting a little bit of a bounce around the day. I still think Rocket Mortgage is a great long-term name, but I want to make it clear, like a lot of these names and mid caps I'm looking to buy, I don't think you're at the options point right now. And again, I mention it here when I buy options all the time. But when you're looking at these, like it's just shares that I'm buying right now. Like I'm totally aware of the risk. So it's like, I just want to buy shares, sit on them. I'm fine where we're at. I like the opportunity, where we're going, and ultimately everything that we want to see. That's the real plan there. Now for the last stock, we're going to be going over CleanCore, and this is on behalf of Outside the Box Capital. Just want to make sure that's noted out there right now. Again, we've covered this a few times, and it's important to understand like what's happening with some of these cryptos, what's happening with some of these stocks that are associated out there of the numbers that we've been going over. Now BMNR and this name are kind of similar, but I like BMNR from the viewpoint of mega names, bigger cryptos, etc. CleanCore, what they're doing out there, again, is more associated with what's been happening with TBH in the Bragg House, what's happening with Zone, etc. So you can see that this is more directly connected to Dogecoin. And what you're seeing with all these people that are doing these treasury stocks, as far as building up a crypto treasury, trying to make money on that side of it, again, they just are continuing to buy these dips on crypto. And it's funny, like you're seeing this viewpoint from Tom Lee that's really leaning into the entire market of crypto's gonna have a big boom, and people are really buying into this idea that Trump is gonna push crypto. And so again, what they've been doing is more on the meme side of Dogecoin, etc. They've been buying nonstop Doge, which brought in almost 20 million unrealized gains so far on the year, which is absolutely insanity. And they're continuing to add more and more Doge on this. Now, again, am I going to tell you to YOLO? Am I going to tell you to start hammering buying some of these stocks? No. But it's important to understand where you're at and what's happening as far as the opportunity. And it's funny, people like are talking about these meme stocks and going crazy and going full sin long. Again, I'm not going to blindly ever tell anyone to do that, but it's important to understand where you're balancing, where you're at, and kind of what's happened from these last moves of these same supports, and understanding where you're trying to buy and get opportunity, right? So people, again, were buying beyond when you're going like straight up towards $7, $8. And they weren't really aware of risks that were out there on some of these names, which is absolutely insane to me, that we were just blindly buying names at like $8 after you move $6. Really stupid. But again, what I'd be looking at as far as value, what's happening with some of these cryptos, and I'd be doing the research on the back end of these cryptos as well as far as potential is concerned. Now, again, where Zone's at, obviously nasty dip right now. You want to start seeing buyers get involved. Until they get involved, again, you have to kind of sit on your hands here. But if you start getting back above a 120, you can start seeing that move back into illiquidity, back to 180, back to $2, etc. Again, just a name to keep on your watch list. Do what you got to do your own research. Have a good one. See you guys in the next video.